Before we dive into today's topic, I thought it was only fair to introduce myself. I'm the voice behind FPL Heritage, and I've been playing Fantasy Premier League since the 2011-2012 season. Over the last 15 seasons, I've experienced just about everything this game can throw at you. There have been incredible highs, 3 finishes inside the world's top 2,000 managers, including 1,334th in the 2011-2012 season, that was my first debut season, 1,484th in the world in the 2018-2019 season, and 1,829th in the world in the 2021-2022 season. There have also been top 1% finishes, top 5% finishes, and yes, a few seasons I'd rather forget. And that's exactly why I wanted to create this channel, because FPL isn't about getting every decision right. Nobody does. It's about making consistently better decisions over the course of an entire season. After 15 years of playing this game, my average finish sits inside the top 8% of all managers. That doesn't make me perfect, but it's taught me a lot about what works and what doesn't, and how small decisions add up over 38 game weeks. This channel isn't going to be about chasing last week's points. It isn't going to be about wild claims or sensational headlines. Instead, every week we'll explore the why behind better FPL decisions. We'll look at transfers, captaincy, chip strategy, team structure, player value, and hopefully all of us can help each other become better FPL managers along the way. So with the introductions out the way, let's start with one of the biggest questions every manager faces before game week 1. Every summer, we all make the same mistake. We open the game, we see a few exciting player prices, we immediately start dragging names into our squad. But that's backwards. Elite managers don't build around players, they build around structure. Players will change, injuries happen, fixtures change, form changes. But your team structure, that's what gives you flexibility. So before we discuss a single name, let's look at what the pricing is telling us this season. Cast your mind back to the summer of 2017. Liverpool signed Mohamed Salah from Roma. He was priced at 9 million in FPL. At the time, there were questions. Could he adapt? Would he justify the price? Would he even be Liverpool's main attacking threat? What happened next changed FPL forever. Salah's debut season wasn't just good, it was historic. He scored 32 Premier League goals, provided 12 assists, and finished the season with 303 FPL points, a record at the time for a single campaign. Overnight, premium midfielders became essential. Captaincy changed, effective ownership became part of everyday FPL conversations, and the game evolved. 1 incredible season can happen. 2, maybe. But Salah didn't stop. Year after year, goals, assists, bonus points, and those precious green arrows. Since joining Liverpool, he has repeatedly produced 200-plus point seasons, setting a standard of consistency that very few FPL assets have ever matched. That's what separates good FPL assets from legendary ones. What made Salah so special wasn't just the goals. He ticked every fantasy box. Nailed to start, rarely injured, on penalties for much of his Liverpool career, a bonus point magnet, explosive double-digit hauls, a reliable captain almost every week. You weren't just buying goals, you were buying certainty. And certainty is one of the most valuable things in FPL. Whenever people ask who's the greatest FPL asset ever, names like Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, Frank Lampard, Sergio Aguero, Harry Kane, even Haaland to an extent, all deserve to be mentioned. But Salah's combination of longevity, reliability, and explosive returns makes an incredibly strong case that he's the greatest fantasy asset we've ever seen. Every season, FPL gives us a handful of premium price players that force us to make difficult choices. This year is no different. However, this year, there's no Mo Salah. Gabriel at £8 million is our premium defender, Bruno Fernandes at £12 million is our premium midfielder, and Erling Haaland at a massive, record-breaking £15.5 million is our premium forward. They're all brilliant footballers, but that's not today's question. The question is, are they actually worth the money? Because in FPL, you're not buying players, you're buying value. One of the biggest mistakes FPL managers make is looking at players in isolation. We ask, will Haaland score goals? Of course he will. The man's an absolute goal machine. That's not the question. The question is, what does buying Haaland stop you from doing elsewhere? Every £1 million spent on one player is £1 million you can't spend somewhere else. That's called opportunity cost, and I think it's one of the most overlooked concepts in FPL. Let's start with Gabriel. At £8 million, you're not simply paying for clean sheets, you're paying for attacking threat, you're paying for reliability, you're paying for one of the league's best defences. But is he £2.5 million better than a £5.5 million defender? That's where the decision becomes interesting. Because if Gabriel scores 170 points this season, but a cheaper defender scores 150 points in the season, was the extra £2.5 million actually worth it? Especially the likes of Mascara, who's looking to start for Arsenal this season, with the likes of Saliba being injured. That's the question FPL managers need to answer. Bruno Fernandes at £12 million is fascinating. He dominates penalties, he rarely misses matches, everything good United do tend to go through him. But at £12 million, he isn't competing against the £8 million or the £7.5 million midfielders like Rodgers and Cunha. He's competing against every premium asset in the game. And to justify that price, he probably needs to deliver captaincy-worthy performances throughout the season. He was a very trustworthy captain last season, but if you're never comfortable captaining him over the likes of Haaland, for example, is £12 million too much? That's the debate here. Haaland. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. £15.5 million. It's an extraordinary price, and honestly, I think it's one of the most fascinating prices FPL has ever given us. Nobody doubts Haaland's abilities, nobody doubts he'll score goals. The question is, can he score enough goals to justify taking up more than 15% of your entire budget? Because if you own Haaland, you're probably sacrificing 2 premium midfielders, maybe your defence, maybe your bench. Everything changes. So owning Haaland isn't just buying Haaland, it's choosing an entirely different team structure, which is what I was talking about at the start of this video. Here's where I stand today. Gabriel, brilliant FPL asset, but I still think there are cheaper defenders capable of keeping pace over the opening weeks. Bruno Fernandes, outstanding footballer, but at £12 million, I still need a bit more convincing before I commit such a large portion of my budget to him, especially with United no longer playing 1 game per week. Haaland, the hardest decision in the game. If he starts fast, not owning him could be painful, but if he doesn't, going without him could unlock one of the strongest balanced squads we've seen in years. I still think that he's one of the most capable players of giving us explosive returns in this game. The only other player that's probably capable of doing that is Cole Palmer. It hasn't deterred many managers off him at the moment. Erling Haaland sits at 73.8% ownership. However, I am pretty sure a lot of it at the moment currently stands with auto-picked teams. Now for the fun bit. This is my first draft. I've started with David Raya because I want exposure to one of the league's best defences. Arsenal consistently rank among the strongest teams for clean sheets, and Raya gives me a reliable route into those defensive points. While £6 million isn't cheap for a goalkeeper, I think reliability at the back can save transfers later on in the season. Verbruggen at £4.5 million and Kinski at £4.5 million both caught my eye, but I still think Raya is the safe long-term pick. Virgil van Dijk. Virgil offers more than just clean sheets. He's a huge aerial threat from set pieces, incredibly nailed on for minutes, and Liverpool's fixtures make him an attractive premium defender. Even with the season that Liverpool had last season under Slot, he still scored an amazing 175 fantasy points. Guaranteed starter, set piece threat, bonus point potential, strong opening fixtures, a no-brainer for me. Now, I know I mentioned that there could be cheaper defenders than Gabriel that could keep up with him in the opening weeks. However, Gabriel is one of the few defenders capable of delivering attacking returns throughout the season. Arsenal's clean sheet potential, as I already mentioned, combined with his threat from corners, gives him one of the highest ceilings amongst defenders, and I feel like that's just too much to pass up at this current moment in time. Goals from corners, again with the Arsenal defence, here I've obviously doubled up. A bonus point magnet, gets DEFCON, a very consistent starter. In my eyes, probably worth the money currently. Now here's probably my favourite pick, Luka Vuskovic. I'll admit it, there's probably a little Spurs bias here, but I actually watched him live in Germany last season and I came away seriously impressed. For a centre-back, scoring 6 goals tells you everything you need to know about his attacking threat. He even scored 7 goals the year before that, so we know it's no fluke. Add in the new DEFCON contributions and the scoring from this season, I genuinely think that he could be an absolute DEFCON machine. If he nails down a starting point in Brighton, I think that he could be the biggest bargains in the entire game. Now moving into midfield, Semenyo is staying. He's a lock in my team. He was a lock in my team last season. He's direct. He shoots whenever he gets half a chance, and City have some really nice opening fixtures. However, this is not Pep's City anymore, it's Maresca's. So we need to see how involved Semenyo actually gets and if the likes of Foden and other players in his position actually get through. Dominic Szoboszlai is another player I think is slightly overlooked. He was brilliant last season for Liverpool, especially under a weakened slot team. Liverpool create plenty of chances, and if he continues to play in an advanced role, I think his ownership could rise very quickly. He's one I'm definitely keeping a close eye on during pre-season to see whether or not he's on pens. I know we have Isak back from injury, so he will most likely be the one on penalties, but again, set pieces, attacking threat, the potential is there for Szoboszlai. Matheus Cunha is currently wearing my vice-captain's armband. He's proven he can score against anyone, and if Manchester United can finally click going forward, I think he becomes one of the standout picks in midfield. He's creative, he's direct, he's involved in almost everything, but I'll be honest, I've just got him in as a backup because of the fact that I don't have Bruno Fernandes in my team. Iliman Ndiaye is really just a placeholder for now. I like the price point, but I want to see more during pre-season before making a final decision. There are a few players around this price who could emerge, so I'm keeping that spot flexible. James Maddison's another one, but Iliman Ndiaye, constant threat, on penalties, guaranteed starter for Everton. So far, let's just keep it as is. Sarr is another player with a great opening set of fixtures. However, Crystal Palace are a big question mark. We don't know if Wharton will be leaving this summer. Mateta looks like he's leaving, Lacroix has already left, and there's no longer Glasner. So, why Ismaila Sarr? He's explosive, he likes to attack defenders one-on-one, and if Palace can continue under their new manager, he could become one of the better midfield priced options at this price range. Again, pre-season will tell us a lot more. Up front, there's no surprises. Erling Haaland keeps the captain's armband. Yes, he's £15.5 million. Yes, he's credibly expensive, but if he scores 25 to 30 goals again, you'll spend every game week hiding behind your sofa if you don't own him. Sometimes protecting your rank is just as important as chasing it, and that's kind of the key element in this. I already mentioned before players that have the potential for those explosive hauls, and I feel like there's only 3 players in the game that can actually do this. Erling Haaland's one of them, Gabriel's another, and I think Cole Palmer's up there. Alongside Haaland, I have Dominic Solanke, although if I'm honest, he's more of a placeholder than a lock. I'm waiting to see how Spurs look throughout pre-season, where he fits into the system, and whether another striker around that price emerges. De Zerbi loves him, but at the moment, that spot is very much open. Dubravka, simply the backup goalkeeper, at £4 million, cheap, dependable, and hopefully someone I'll never need to use. Van Dijk is another placeholder, good price, but I'm waiting to see how pre-season develops before committing. There are a few defenders in this bracket competing for this spot, but looking at his goal contributions last season, Van Dijk seems to be a nice choice. Anthony Robinson is exactly the type of defender I like on my bench. He's an attacking fullback, capable of the odd assist, and someone I don't mind coming in when the fixtures turn. And finally, Bassett, let's be honest here, he's pure bench fodder. At 4.5 million, all I need him to do is exist, free up the budget, and occasionally collect 2 points if he's ever called upon. But most likely he won't be. If he never leaves my bench all season, that's probably a good thing. So that's my current draft. It's far from finished, and pre-season will almost certainly change a few things. But that's the beauty of FPL. Every decision has a reason behind it. Now it's over to you guys. What would you change? Which players have I completely got wrong? And who's already locked into your Game Week 1 squad? Who's caught your eye with this season's pricing? Has someone been priced too cheaply, or do you think some of these premium players simply aren't worth the investment? Let me know down in the comments below because I genuinely love to hear your thoughts, and I'll be replying to as many of you as I can. If you enjoyed today's video and found it useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to FPL Heritage, and join our growing community of FPL managers. It really helps support the channel and means you won't miss any of the content as we build towards Game Week 1. Until next time, this has been FPL Heritage, where we explore the why behind better FPL decisions. And remember, don't chase last week's points, understand why they happened, study the history, build better decisions, and I'll see you soon.